Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and China. What do they all have in common? They all want to be friends with Pakistan. But why, of all countries, do these major powers in the world want to be friends with such a poor nation? Well, if you stay until the end, I'll tell you exactly how Pakistan is slowly becoming a champion of the global East and a power to be reckoned with. Hello and welcome back to the Traveling Report. Today we're going over Pakistan and its special relationships with places like Turkey, like Azerbaijan, like China, like Saudi Arabia, and why, realistically, as time goes on, Pakistan is looking increasingly like a dependable ally, which is not something that, of course, many people will realize, as it is known as a very poor country, but in the actuality of it, it is not entirely that poor relative to cost of living. Now, I do have to preface this and say that I am here in Islamabad, Pakistan, and there are things that I could say about the poverty in Islamabad and the poverty in Pakistan and the infrastructure in Pakistan. And I'll leave that for another video. I think that realistically, if you're looking at it from the angle of it being a super developed nation that everyone is super wealthy, like a Liechtenstein or a, Luxembourg, it's not that, right? And as I've lived across the world, I realized that I really don't like developed nations, so that's just something to keep in mind. But going back to what exactly is driving people to become friends with Pakistan, it comes down to Pakistan's role in the global order, which I break down the global order a lot on this channel, so if you're interested in that, feel free to subscribe, and I would be more than appreciative of you doing so. However, Pakistan is situated next to India and next to Afghanistan, Iran, and these are very, large powers, right? If you look at Iran, it is one of the largest oil producers. If you look at India, a lot of it is manufacturing. But if you look at who is allying with who, the Turks do not like the Armenians, and the Armenians are supported by India. And so Azerbaijan and Turkey sort of use this as a way to instill an ally. Saudi Arabia has a lot of people from Pakistan working in Saudi Arabia. I was recently in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and there was quite a visible amount of Pakistanis. And living here, you learn that there are a lot of, for instance, Mandarin people, Chinese people, Han Chinese, and a lot of the signage is actually in Mandarin, which you will see, walking down the streets, looking at people, that there are a lot of Mandarin speakers, there are a lot of people from China doing business here in Islamabad. It's the same in Karachi because there's a large port. It's the same in Lahore because that's the manufacturing base. And so what you get is people looking to directly have inflows from Pakistan. And this is creating a very unique situation because Pakistan is turning into China's China. And Pakistan is looking at lower end manufacturing, which of course used to be Bangladesh. But Bangladesh has had some political issues recently, and they're diversifying away, which I've always told you that the world is changing. The world is shifting towards two different camps, and those camps you can find on my channel. If you're down there, again, subscribe. But these camps are non-aligned countries and aligned countries. And China is doing its best to align Pakistan with the BRICS. which is very interesting as, of course, India is within the BRICS alliance and will never likely allow Pakistan in. And of course, if you look at the history of Pakistan, if you look at the history of India, it is very turbulent. And of course, I will be in India eventually. I'm not sure exactly when, but I love to look at the differences between the two countries, and I will compare them to each other. The main thing I think that is interesting about Pakistan is that, of course, you are looking at a country that does have a large military, realistically. It is something like the 12th or 13th largest military in the world. It does have nuclear weapons. It does saber rattle with those nuclear weapons, especially against India. And, of course, right now there is a war with Afghanistan. They recently closed the border, which I thought that I was going to go to Afghanistan. Not anymore, because of the war in Pakistan against Afghanistan. And I will be doing more reporting over the war between Pakistan and Afghanistan later. So subscribe again if you're interested in that, and leave a like if you are enjoying. However, when you look at the totality of these alliances, oftentimes they are very tied into the Pakistani military complex. And something that may not be known, and that I will do a whole separate video of, is the Pakistani military and the Pakistani people are very closely tied because the Pakistani military is the political class. Similar to Thailand, the military has major sway over what happens in Pakistan, which of course impacts their ability to make alliances. However, with that, it also makes military alliances very potent, let's say, for both the country that is allying with Pakistan and the non-aligned country or whatever else. So essentially what it comes down to, and the TLDR, is Pakistan is increasingly a military power that is being funded by China, being funded by Saudi Arabia, being funded by Turkey, being funded by Azerbaijan, and it's as a result of disliking the other side. Of course, if you are looking for where to move, how to move, to escape these geopolitical issues, feel free to drop down in the description below, fill out the forms link for Google. If you like this video, feel free to like it. If you really like this video, feel free to share it with your friends. If you are looking for a way to join me on this internationalization and globalization journey, feel free to subscribe. This has been Travel Report, signing off.